Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is doing good. In today's video, I wanted to help you guys finding accommodation in New Zealand. So this video is going to help everyone who's thinking of coming to New Zealand and has no one who can support them with the accommodation and stuff. And I hope my video helps you find something suitable for yourself. So in today's video, we are going to talk about a different type of accommodation that's available in New Zealand and how can you find those type of accommodation. So anyone who's coming to New Zealand, they need accommodation to live here. If you have friends and family here who can support you with accommodation for a few months or days, that's really good, because I think if you have someone here to help you out for the first initial days of your stay in New Zealand, I think there's nothing better than that. Get in touch with them, and if they can help you with accommodations for a few days, weeks or months, I think there's nothing better than that, because when you're coming to a new country, you don't know anything here. This place is a new place for you, so you actually want to have a shelter, and you want to have people who know you better and who can help you for the first initial day. So I think getting in touch with people who know you in the country that you're moving to, I think that's the best thing that you can do for you. But if you have no one to help you out, I hope this video helps you in some way. So if you talk about the different type of accommodation options that you have in New Zealand, we have houses that you can rent here. We have apartments, and we have different type of small flats, and we even have some sort of townhouses that you can rent here. Also have like backpacker places for you to rent for a wee while if you have no other accommodation sorted. So we are going to talk about all the options available for you guys in this video. So now, first of all, if you are coming to New Zealand as a student and you have no one that knows you here and you have no sort of accommodation sorted out, I would say that as a student, first of all, you get in touch with the college or the university that you are joining. Some universities and colleges, they like provide a few or like compensated accommodation for the first few weeks of your stay in New Zealand. So get in touch with them. If they provide some sort of accommodation, that's pretty good. Now some of the universities have hostel services, like for example in South Island, Canterbury University, CPIT, which is called ARA now, has hostels. So you can actually apply for the hostels for a few months if you have no one who knows you here. And if you still don't want to go for the hostel options or for the college options, then we will move on to the other accommodation options. Now after you have ruled out the hostel options, if you don't want to go for that, now what you can do is, if you are coming to any city, we have a website that helps you find accommodation in New Zealand. That's called TradeMe. When you go on to TradeMe, you have an option to find out a rental space for yourself. You can actually find any type of accommodation on TradeMe. You can find out houses, condos, you can find out apartments for yourself, townhouses, anything. So you have to actually filter out what city you are coming into, what type of accommodation you are interested in. And from TradeMe, you can actually find yourself a good accommodation. From TradeMe, you can find yourself a house or any type of accommodation that you're looking for. But if you're looking for a shared accommodation, or like for example, if you're thinking of sharing an house or apartment with an individual or a family, is not an option for you. TradeMe is for people who actually want a small apartment on their own or a small house on their own. So if you want to do that, if you're coming here as a family, if you're coming here with your partners, you can actually go on to TradeMe and find yourself a house. And then when you select that house, the house that you're looking for, they have got all the details of the house owner or any company who's advertising that house for renting. So they have got their contact details on the house page, and then you can get in touch with the owner of the house or the agency who has advertised for that property. And when you get in touch with them, you can actually tell them that you're coming to New Zealand and this is your scenario, and you have actually all the funds that help you pay the rent for that house. And you can talk to them, and then I think you can find yourself a suitable house from that place. Now if you're coming here as a single and you want a shared type of accommodation, or if TradeMe doesn't work out for you, for example you're coming to a new country and someone is actually not ready to rent a space to a new migrant or a new person who's new to the country, then I think this option is going to work for you. This option that I'm going to talk about is Facebook. Facebook is a very easy way to find accommodations here in New Zealand. Now whichever city you decide to come on to, every city has a page established for the different communities here in New Zealand. Like for example, if you are an Indian who's coming to Auckland, you have a page for, say, Indians in Auckland. If you're coming to Christchurch, we have different pages here as Indian community in Christchurch, Christchurch Indians, like, you know, there are different pages for our Indian community. And hence there are different community pages for every community that's here in New Zealand, you know. So I think the best way to find accommodation, that's something that I would recommend you, is going through these Facebook pages. Like for example, if I talk about a Christchurch community page, say Indians in Christchurch, what you can do is you can actually post on that page saying that this is your incoming dates to New Zealand and you are actually looking for this type of house, say even a shared house, a house on your own, or you know, anything. You can actually put in all your details, and I think I am 100% sure that you will find a solution or an answer, or a house for you to rent on any of the community pages for sure. I think we have different hundreds of people who are actually looking for tenants, or and there are many families who are actually looking for students, like single girls or single boys who are looking for places to rent. So community pages are the best way to find accommodation for students, or even in general any families who want shared accommodation or even a small house to rent. I think the first time when I came to New Zealand as a student, I had friends here, so I moved in with my friends. But I think after a few weeks or so, I didn't get along with the friends that I came with, because when you start living with someone, it's not sure that, you know, you're gonna get along with them or not. So after that, I found myself a house to rent from a community page. I actually posted on the Facebook page that, you know, I'm a single student and I'm looking for a place to rent, and this is how much money I have to actually pay for the house or the shared room. So you know, and everything that I had, actually I explained in everything, and I think I got a message in just like a day or so, and I actually found a house in a week, and I moved in straight away. So you just tell you just write in the post that this is how much money you have and this is how much you can afford for the house, and I think you can find yourself an easy option or a suitable option very quick. So now the fourth option that we are going to talk about is backpackers. Backpackers are quite popular in New Zealand. What are backpackers? Now backpackers are sort of like a motel accommodation, but in backpackers you actually share a room or share a whole hall with different people, and you have a shared bathroom. So if you have no one to help you out with your stay in New Zealand, and you even can't find anything, you actually can find a shared accommodation for a few weeks or even a month through backpackers. You can actually go on Google and search in for backpackers New Zealand, and we have backpackers all around New Zealand. So you can actually find like a cheap house for say $50 a day, or maybe $40 or $30 a day, and you can stay in backpackers until you don't find any other accommodation. I think it's pretty cheap, and I think it's a very reliant way to have a space for yourself when you are coming to New Zealand, if you don't have any other options sorted out for you that I have mentioned earlier in the video. And I think for all the links of the backpackers and for all the sort of TradeMe web pages and community pages, I'm going to write down all the links in the description box below, for making it easier for you to find all the links and stuff. Now we are going to talk about how much does it cost for different type of accommodation in New Zealand. So now the accommodation costs can vary from city to city. Like for example, Auckland is one of the biggest cities here in New Zealand, and therefore the accommodation costs are more higher in Auckland as compared to all the other cities in New Zealand. Now South Island is more cheaper in terms of accommodation than North Island, so your accommodation costs can vary from city to city and place to place. So now I'm going to talk about South Island because that is where I live, and I can give you like a detail of what accommodation costs are going to be here in South Island, because I know better about South Island than I know about North Island. But I think the costs are going to be somewhat similar or a little bit higher in North Island. Just make a guess from there. Now starting from the house rents here in South Island. Now in Christchurch, you can actually rent a 2-bedroom house starting from $1,100 to say $1,500. Now the houses of the rent may vary from suburb to suburb. Like For example, the houses closer to the cities or maybe some posh areas would have higher prices for their houses. But if you're looking for a standard house in suburbs closer to the city center, I think you can easily find a house ranging from $1,200 to $1,400 a month. If you are coming here as a family, then obviously you are going to think of renting a whole house or a whole apartment. Now, townhouses here in South Island are slightly cheaper than the houses. So if you have no child, or if you're just living here with your partners or even singles, you can actually opt for townhouses. Townhouses are the ones with like the story houses are called as townhouses. So that's an option. If you are a single and you don't want a whole house to rent, you can actually share a house. And if you are looking into sharing a house with the family or even with other people, I think the cost for a single room would be somewhere around $100 to $170 a week. Now again, that depends on the house that you're renting or the type of the condition of the room that you're renting, and even if the house owners are providing you a furnished or an unfurnished room. Unfurnished rooms are going to be slightly cheaper than furnished rooms, so the price varies from $100 to $200. You know, the price range lies between this. And now this is just the price for renting a room here. Now obviously the cost of electricity and internet is going to be on top of it. Some people actually are renting their places at $120 a week including internet and electricity, and some people actually decide to rent their place for like $180 a week including internet, electricity, or even without it. So it depends on the house owner that how much they want to actually ask the tenant to pay for their room or house, you know. So that's a personal thing, you know. And but the cost is going to vary somewhere between that. I would just say that look for the option that suits your pocket the best. If you're coming here as a student, go for a shared accommodation or hostels before actually looking into a house, because that's going to be quite expensive for you, and it's going to be, and especially if you are studying and working a lot, it's going to be quite hard for you to pay this much of money. So go for a shared accommodation, and community pages are quite good for finding that. I think that's all that I want to talk about in this video, and I hope it helped you in some way. And if you have any questions regarding this video, just put your questions in the comment section below, and I'm going to answer all those questions for you. And if the girl is coming to New Zealand still doesn't know, you know, how they can actually find an accommodation for you, just flick me an email or put your question in your comment section, and I'm going to send you my email, and I can actually get in touch with you and help you finding accommodation here. Because I know when you're a female coming here to New Zealand and you don't know anyone, I think it's quite hard for you, and it's quite hard for your family as well. You know, they are more scared than you, than that how my child is going to find an accommodation there, how it's going to be like for them there. So just flick me an email. I think I could help you in some way or the other. So that's all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed watching me talking about the accommodation choices here in New Zealand. And if you have any other video suggestions, just tell me in the comment section. I would love to make a video on your recommended video suggestions. And until then, I'm gonna see you in my next video.